Shocking revelation. Breach 6 is the key to finding treasure. The group gets updated with fresh information regarding the possible worth of Yamashita's gold and discusses a region of interest known as Breach 6 in this phase of the mission. They also think that Breach 6 is the key to finding treasure. The explorer John Casey and his crew are updated by the researcher Bingo Minerva with new information regarding the potential value of Yamashita's gold. Estimates suggest that there may still be treasure in the mountains that is worth tens of billions or maybe hundreds of billions of dollars. According to the findings of Bingo's inquiry, the treasure may not only consist of gold, but also of diamonds, gems, and coins that are hidden beneath burlap sacks and crates. Bingo's investigation found that these items may be found among the treasure. Another topic that is brought up for discussion among the squad is Breach 6, which was an area of interest that Colonel Corey and his crew had previously examined. The fact that there are scary stories about previous treasure hunters becoming ill or dying in the area adds to the dangers that are linked with going there. The group has come to the opinion that the best approach to evaluate the issue is they choose to conduct their excavation in the region that is immediately adjacent to the more significant anomaly. However, they experience difficulties as a result of the unstable soil, which ultimately results in the construction of a reinforced steel shaft for the purposes of safety. In the course of their exploration of the building, they came across a concrete slab that might or might not have been a component of a Japanese tunnel. During World War II, the Japanese made use of a cement mix that bore a striking resemblance to the formula that is applied in modern construction. Their level of excitement keeps rising as they get set to burst through the concrete and possibly find the long-lost treasure. They have been looking for it for a long time. After finishing all of the required steps, the party went into a corner and tried to get into the area where the treasure was hidden. They are really ecstatic because they believe that they may have found the entrance to a tunnel that had been concealed below the concrete covering. They have grounds for believing that they are coming closer to figuring out how to get into the mountain in order to retrieve the gold that was misplaced there. Lost Gold of World War II is an attempt to discover Yamashita's treasure 70 years after it was buried, based on trustworthy evidence from an eyewitness. While some mysteries have remained unsolved for a reason, such as a lack of credible information or an excessive reliance on tall tales, other mysteries have remained unanswered for a cause. The action takes place primarily on the island of Luzon in the Philippines, which serves as the backdrop for this exotic setting. During World War II, Japanese forces operating in Southeast Asia pillaged the region, stealing gold, ancient artifacts, and other valuables. After the United States prevented General Yamashita from returning to Japan in 1945, he purportedly buried all of the treasure in the Philippines after being prevented from returning to Japan. Following the conclusion of the war, he was put on trial in court and promptly executed, taking his long-hidden secret with him to the grave. After waiting for 7 decades, 2 treasure seekers have formed a partnership in order to investigate the alleged location of 175 treasure sites across the Philippines. Together with a group of 4 other investigators, Peter Struzzieri, who has a combined experience of 50 years in the treasure hunting industry, and John Casey serve as team leaders for this project. Their mission is to uncover the truth. Grandpa has consented to aid this party of Americans, who are being followed by a video team, despite the fact that he is somewhat hazy on everything he truly knows and that he was compelled to help the Japanese when he was a child. Lost Gold is not as simple as just following urban legends into the woods. There is more to it than that. 5 individuals make up the crew that is on the hunt for buried treasure. Heavy equipment operators Brad Carr and Jeremy McMillian, a team physician by the name of Manny Paez, and an expert in symbols and codes by the name of Martin Flagg. In order to ensure the safety of the treasure vaults, General Yamashita set off a series of dynamite explosions. This introduces an additional element of danger into the equation. As a direct consequence of this, a great number of engineers and prisoners of war lost their lives in the process. After the treasure had been hidden, General Yamashita put it under a mountain in order to cover up practically all of the evidence. He did this so a number of strange symbols are discovered carved into a variety of rocks. It is supposed that these emblems were left behind for the golden lily, a secret establishment of Japanese nobility that may have initially claimed the jewels for themselves. Using the equipment that is available, the group makes the discovery that there may be a cyanide canister that has been broken at the bottom of the 25-foot pit. They do this by climbing into their big machinery and operating it in order to expel any potentially contaminated gas. After Yamashita and his soldiers had left, the mountains had transformed, and for the past 80 years, there have been only a few hints left behind by the people who hid the treasure in the highlands. One of them has a pyramidal structure and hard imprints on the hand, which are both things that cannot be formed by nature and can only be made by humans. The pyramidal structure may be able to direct the team to the tunnels that Yamashita's men constructed. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notification for more interesting findings about this treasure. Breach 6 is the product of the labor put in by those who excavated for this treasure in the past. Up until the current day, a number of teams have been searching for gold and artifacts. Breach the 6th of May provide leads and clues, but it also may provide risks because some of the Yamashita army may have abandoned their traps. A shard of the shattered glass bottle may be seen on the screen of one of the team's cameras in Breach 6. It is assumed to be a bottle of cyanide. Research team finally makes breakthrough in treasure discovery. Click on the next video to find out more now. Interesting Findings was concerned about his life and wanted his narrative to be relayed in a way that was believed by others. Greenspun's initial reaction to Curtis's account was one of skepticism. However, after viewing evidence such as tapes, notes, and maps, he came to believe that Curtis was telling the truth. Curtis, a mining engineer, had gotten himself involved in something significant and perhaps deadly, and Greenspun took his claim seriously because of his link to former Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos. The group talks about their conversation with Brian Greenspun, who is an editor at the Las Vegas Sun. Greenspun corroborates the assertion that the evidence presented by Bob Curtis, which included maps and photographs, was thought to be authentic at the time it was gathered. Chuck McDougall, who was working with Curtis on the Fort Santiago location, has been brought to the attention of the crew. They come across a news clip in which McDougall is heard discussing the treasure and mentions engineering drawings and maps. This gives rise to the prospect that McDougall may still have maps, be the key to discovering the secret location of the hidden gold. To be able to persevere through the never-ending challenges that come with being a treasure hunter, you need to have a certain kind of personality. Not only is the job that must be done on a daily basis challenging, but there are also a great many other challenges that must be surmounted, particularly when it comes to making difficult decisions in the face of very long odds. Due to this factor, it is virtually inevitable that the treasure hunters on any given buried treasure reality show will be unsuccessful in their efforts. Despite the fact that this success rate was already known beforehand, it is nonetheless interesting to follow the trip of the searcher and any history that is discovered along the way. Team lead John Casey is searching for the buried wealth of General Yamashita Tomoyuki on the island of Luzon in the Philippines. He is attempting to locate the treasure by following meticulously hidden clues. Despite all of the show's best efforts, the first season, entitled Digging Up Lost History and Lost Gold of World War II, resulted in nothing but dead ends. When the show was restarted for Season 2, the title of the new season was, Will a New Crew Find the Lost Gold of World War II? This new season included a new crew that appeared to operate a lot wiser with much better equipment, which resulted in the team having more success. Bingo Minerva, the head researcher, used her connections in the United States to find a renowned treasure hunter who had previously spent a significant amount of time working with the Philippine government. Since this individual also happened to possess many treasure maps, it was only logical to bring him on board the expedition. Because of his expertise, the group was able to make an informed decision about where to dig by combining it with data from NMR scans, seismic scans, and surveys. As a result, they dug in the appropriate location. However, in contrast to the Curse of Oak Island, digging towards debt, Oak Island's true curse, and the Curse of Civil War Gold, the Curse of Civil War Gold dives to new depths, the team used personal videotapes recorded by a previous treasure hunter who spent 30 years in the Philippines and deciphered the coded treasure maps in order to end an intense 5-month-long excavation with some actual success. They finally found a void area after spending several weeks drilling through the side of a mountain with a horizontal drill while working beneath a waterfall that was 300 feet deep. The space has the potential to be a treasure chamber. Using a snake camera, they spotted what appeared to be crates of ammo. Do the crates contain any valuables? How exactly do they plan to retrieve them? And will the authorities truly let the team keep whatever they might find during their investigation? When the team begins to get excited about their discovery, they are suddenly startled by a second chopper that appears to be following them and spying on them. This happens like clockwork. Everyone is on edge as a result of this, in addition to the unannounced safety inspectors who took plenty of images of the team's progress and the various cautions that others have given, as the level of danger appears to have significantly grown. Because of this unwelcome attention, there is now a sense of urgency to retrieve the treasure as swiftly as possible. When looking at the findings of this research as a whole, it can be seen that the team did in fact work better together, which resulted in an exciting cliffhanger. It is fascinating to discover the nitty-gritty specifics of the Pacific Theater, and it is astounding to find out that there are still certain mysteries out there that have not been answered, such as the locations of the valuables that were seized by the Japanese forces during World War II. Casey and the rest of his team make the decision to split and conquer Siargao Island very soon, because it is remote and away from any prying eyes. When the team discovers that one of their maps is unique and may have never been reproduced, they realize that every detail, no matter how insignificant, is essential to achieving their ultimate objective. A distinctive activity practiced by the Filipinos is the never-ending search for the fabled gold of General Yamashita. Amateur treasure seekers can be found practically everywhere in the United States. They can be found excavating houseposts, peering under flagpoles, or exploring tunnels in the hopes of making a fortune. If you ask any Filipino, they would weave you a good narrative about an uncle or a friend of a friend who was sure that they knew exactly where X marked the site, even if they had no way of verifying their claim. Be sure to subscribe and turn on post notification for more thrilling findings. The story goes that during World War II, the Japanese stole millions of dollars worth of war bullion from the territories they held. This is according to the legend. It was decided that the Philippines would be the best spot to bury the riches since the Japanese headquarters under General Yamashita believed that the Philippines would never again fall under enemy control. At the end of the war, however, Allied and Filipino soldiers forced the Imperial Army into a hasty retreat, which resulted in Yamashita's gold being left behind in a number of sites that are currently unknown. There has always been an opportunity for robbery and plundering whenever there is instability caused by war. This was notably true during World War II, when many pieces of priceless art, artifacts, and other wealth were destroyed and transported away from both Europe and the Asia-Pacific region. The Nazis in particular were responsible for the systematic theft of cultural property from private residences, royal palaces, and museums. Some of this loot was intended to assist Adolf Hitler in the construction of his proposed Führer Museum, but other forces also carted away their own loot. After the war was over, tales of genuine and imagined missing wealth began to mingle together, particularly in regards to rumors of stolen Nazi gold. Treasure seekers have been driven to search for all of the items on this list. Nevertheless, some of the items on this list are more verifiable than others. New findings leaves researchers stunned. Click on the next video to find out more now.